my Run Your Story family. This is Allison Gilliard with Run Your Story, where every story needs to be heard. And so excited to be able to share my dear friend who, she's just amazing. She's also a local running coach for St. Paul, and she's also a registered dietitian, and I love her. Her name is Miss Claris Perkins. Thank you for sharing so much insight. One of the things that she really helped me understand is that don't lose focus. It's amazing. She's so good, so good. And running is what led her to become a registered dietitian. Wow, that's just incredible. Cannot wait for you guys to hear her Run Your Story. Guys, as always, got to give a big old shout out to Gilliard Tech Services for all that he does for Run Your Story, both as editing and also on our website. You can check him out on gilliardts.com, where you will find out all his services that he provides, from freshening up that current website to building a brand new website for you, or to help tutor or any other questions that you may have when it comes to all things websites. So he's your guy, he's my guy, he's what makes Run Your Story run. So we are very, very grateful for him and for sponsoring this podcast. So thank you, Greg Gilliard from Gilliard Tech Services. And now, guys, I give you my dear friend, Miss Claris Perkins, and her Run Your Story. Thanks, Claris, for being here. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited. I feel like we've been talking about this for weeks.
We have, yes, so excited because you are a plethora of knowledge.
Oh, God. Pressure.
Both on the side of being a runner, of being a coach, and being a registered dietitian. So I've been so looking forward to this because we've had so many running conversations before, you and I.
Yeah.
And I've come to you before with questions, and I'm like, what do we do about this and this? And then you've been so gracious to help me out with Run Your Story training program and given me nutrition advice to give to our runners, because that's not my scope.
And I love it.
So it's like, I am so excited. Yay. So let's just go out. What is your run story?
So my run story, I think I went on my first run in 2004.
Okay.
I was a chunky 7th grader. And my pal Sophie told me I should join the cross-country team because I wasn't doing anything better, and that it would make me better at soccer.
Okay.
Time went on. I wasn't any good at soccer, so I stuck with running. And then from there, I've grown into longer races. So really love the half marathon. Done some marathons. I like the half marathon better. And now I'm back at the school I started with and helping coach their kids.
Wow. So you graduated from St. Paul's?
Yes.
Okay. And so now you're back coaching. How is that?
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It is really so much fun. It's really nice to, one, have a reason to go running. So I'll go run with them. And that's really fun. And it's fun to see it click for somebody else. You know, when you watch someone do a workout and you see the effort make sense to them. Mm-hmm. And they're a bunch of fun, goofy high schoolers.
Yeah.
And that's fun too.
I love that. I will share this with you, which you don't know. But, well, you already know I'm a fan of yours. I'm a huge fan of you and your husband, Woody. Like, y'all are just, the cutest. And then not only, he's what, 6 foot?
He's 6'4".
6'4". I mean, he's a tall drink of water.
Yeah.
But you guys are so cute running because we've ran into each other.
Yes.
And you guys, he's right there with you. And I know that his stride.
Well, he would be nothing without me.
Oh,
So
I love that.
Let's make that very clear.
I absolutely love that. But it's now changed to a different location, but it was when we did the 8K.
Oh, the holiday.
The holiday half. Yeah. And you came in first. It was amazing. But not only that, but you are such an encouraging runner. So here I was, huffing and puffing along, and you're like, from the other side, go, Allison! And I was like, no, she didn't just say that to me. So thank you to, the slower runner.
Oh, my gosh.
For an elite runner to be like, I acknowledge you. That was so great.
If you haven't done this race, you run out, you turn around, and you come back.
Yeah.
And there's something really fun about that because you have in mind who you know, and I'm looking for you. So,
Stop.
Well, because you're probably looking for me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I know Allison's here. I saw her at the starting line. I'm looking for Woody because I'm like, come on, you got to hurry up. But it gets you excited because you're like, we're all doing it.
That's our people.
Yeah.
I loved it. And I was so singing excited. I was like, that's my boo. Like, she did it. I'm so proud. That was awesome. So proud. So let's also talk about some of the different races that you've done, because there's a story that I was trying to remember of like Woody went back and he ran with you, but he was in not running shoes.
Oh, okay. So this race, this was the marathon that like took a piece of my soul that I'm never going to get back. I'd signed up for this race. It's in Salt Lake City. It's a marathon, and you start at the top of a mountain and you run down the mountain. In my head, this sounds great. I'm going to run downhill for 26 miles. I'm going to run so fast. It is killer. If you're considering a downhill race, it is literally so killer. And I get to the bottom of this marathon. Woody had torn his ACL skiing the winter before. And he looked at me when he was packing for this trip, and he said, I'm not going to pack running shoes because I'm not going to be running. I'm just packing Vans. I said, okay, fine. And I'm coming down the mountain. I'm at mile 18. I'm in tears. I'm like, this is not good. Like, things are not good. You know when things are not good. And Woody was like, well, you don't have to keep going. Like, we can go home. You can stop. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. I don't know. And I'm like, no. I'm in Utah. Yeah. You know, like, I've done 18 of 26. I can drag myself to the end. So at this point, it does a little out and back. So I see him again. I'm still upset about it. And he's like, well, I'll just run with you to the end. So this is like 22.
Wow.
So he's got about 4 miles. He hasn't run at all. He's gone through knee surgery, and he's in Vans. And he's just jogging along with me. And we joke about it. We're like, your first run post-surgery was in a pair of blue Vans.
I love it. I remember when you told me that story, and I was like, what? Wait, say that again?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And when you are a runner... Well, I can't say this blanket statement. When you are a certain kind of runner, you are like very specific about shoes, very specific about socks. You know, if you're a girl, you got your sports bra, you've got it all figured out.
Yeah.
And all I can think, like, I'm running these last 4 miles and everything hurts with me, but I'm like, oh, God, he doesn't have any arch support. You know, like, this is going to ruin his feet.
He just had a knee.
Like, yeah. He was fine, y'all. He's still running. He's good.
I love that.
But
like I said, you guys are a phenomenal couple. Like, absolutely love it. And you're adding a new addition.
We are.
So exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, well, I'm currently 33 weeks pregnant, and I haven't run in the last 5 weeks because it didn't feel good anymore, so I stopped. And Woody has never run more than he has in the last 6 weeks or so.
Stop it.
That feels grossly unfair. He's also running faster than he's ever run, and I'm over here just feeling like the biggest version of myself. I want to run so bad because the weather is like crisp and great.
Yeah.
So it tears at my soul a little bit.
But you'll get back to it, and you'll have a stroller, and you'll be the mom that passes me, and I'll be like, all right, girl, I got you. I see you. So what are some lessons that you've learned from running?
Oh, gosh. My biggest running lesson is to not take things so seriously.
Ooh, that's really good.
And that comes from being burned, you know? Because I'm a very type A person. So the head coach at St. Paul's still coaches me today. Not right now, but me as in normally.
Yeah.
And he'll give me a 12 to 20 week plan depending on the race. It's a chart. I can mark off the days. Love that. Get really attached to the schedule and to the plan. And when you have a goal, you really care about it. Like, you're waking up really early, and then you're going to bed really early, and your whole life kind of revolves around training for this. And there have been two different types, and this is mostly marathons, really. Two different types of marathons that I've trained for. One that I've taken really seriously, and I have never raced well. Where I'm, like, really beating myself up about keeping the schedule, you know, all of that.
Sure.
And then one where I've been like, well, here's the schedule. This is ideal. Hopefully it works out. It's not that big of a deal. And that was my best race. It could be coincidence. I don't know. But I think that for me, at least, there's something with like creating all this pressure and making this goal so important.
Yeah.
And no one's paying me to run.
You're paying.
Yeah. Like, I'm paying the money. I'm putting in the time. And if this isn't fun, then like what's the point? And so when I'm really able to embrace that is when I have been able to run the best.
That is awesome. That's
And
amazing.
so it's hard though when you have this personality that wants to be like, because you want to like trick yourself into it. Ooh, yeah, this is fun, but then deep down you're like, no, but this is serious. Or the worst game is when you're like, if I could run this when I'm running for fun, what happens when I take it really seriously?
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, Claris, you've done that. That doesn't end more fun for you, and it's not great.
Man, you know, it's funny you bring that up because that's something that I've told our training group, and that is you fit running into your life. You don't fit life into your running.
Yeah.
Because it's like you said, you'll get burned out. You'll be like, why am I doing this again? You forget, and then you don't have fun. And that's what I tell people. I'm like, running should be fun. It should be enjoyable. It should challenge you. You should have a purpose and a reason for it, but then it should be fun. And if it's not, then reevaluate.
Yeah.
So I love that.
I think especially when you're looking at longer races, like a half marathon, and everyone's different, but I can race a half marathon on Sunday and then like go for a jog on Wednesday. If I'm going to race a marathon, like, oh my God, it takes forever to recover.
Yeah.
It takes forever to mentally even think about training again. And so you put in, for me, like 20 weeks is what I kind of need to be physically prepared for that. Right. I mean, that's a lot of time. It's a lot of time.
You gotta have a part-time job to
truly. I mean, you know, you've seen me like foam rolling on my lunch break, and I mean, it like really becomes a lot, and you love it, and that's why you do it, and it is fun.
Yeah.
And you like meet amazing people, and you see places that you've never seen before,
right,
or you see them from a different way. But I've had to take fun really seriously because taking running too seriously doesn't work for me.
I could just see you going, I'm going to have fun.
No, seriously, my husband, he'll be like, are we still having fun? And I'm like, I don't know, maybe. Don't ask me at mile 17 of a 20-mile long run if we're still having fun.
So what has been your favorite race and why?
So my favorite race, okay, so two come to mind. Oh, they're both marathons, though. That's not even fun.
I know.
Okay. So the first marathon I ran, when you've never done it before, you're like, well, I just want to survive this.
Sure.
And so the whole thing was just for fun. And a friend of mine met me at 15. I'm in New Orleans. It's the Rock and Roll Full.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And I see her, like her mom like pulled on the side of the interstate. She's running down from the interstate and like hops onto the course to run the last 10 miles with me.
Wow.
She's carrying like treats and snacks and all this stuff. You know, she's got it all. And I remember like specifically us like singing Baby Got Back the last like 5K of this marathon. And I'm like, this is great. You know, like I'm having so much fun. I've been running for 3.5 hours. This is just awesome. And I'll just never forget that. Like that was one of the most fun. I don't know. It was just more than I thought it would be. And the other one, which when I signed up for this race, I'd never thought it would be like one of my most favorite races. Okay. But it was the Mobile Full.
Wow. Okay.
I ran this in 2018, and it was my favorite because it went so well. I'm sure you've experienced this, and I'm sure people listening, or I hope people have experienced this. When you get into a race and you're like maybe halfway or a little over halfway, and you know, like, I'm nailing it. Yeah. Like, unless something really happens, like, this is going to go exactly how I want it to go. And it did. I mean, it was amazing. Like, I felt great. And I mean, I was tired when it ended, but it was one of those where I was like, oh my God, I did it! You know it. I'm like, I just have to keep this for the next hour and a half. Wow. And then it's just that really like surreal feeling. And I think that was really cool, which is weird to say because I've done like a couple of Disney half marathons and I've done a couple where we've like traveled and done races, and like still the one that I'm like, God, that was a cool race was the one in Mobile.
Wow.
But I don't think I'll ever run it again.
Yeah. It's hilly.
Well, not even that. I think it's almost like something magic happened and I don't think I'll recreate it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You're like, I want that memory. You have that specific memory for that race. So you could always do the half.
Love the half. Nice and flat.
You could always do that.
Yeah. That's actually my like tentative postpartum goal.
Okay.
Is to run So that'll be in January, the Mobile half.
Okay.
So I'm like, I think that sounds like plenty of time to recover and get excited.
Yeah.
And then just like see, I don't know, we'll see. I've never
awesome.
had a baby, so I'm sure the moms out there are like, honey.
That's awesome. So I am very excited to also ask some of these questions because I know you, and I'm just, again, we've had so many different running conversations.
We've been friends for a while.
We have. And so it's just been like, you've been somebody that I've gone to, and then vice versa, where we're like, what do you think about this? And then what do you think about this?
Yes.
And we've had so many different conversations that is something that I just treasure, because I'm like, you're a resource for me and a friend, you know, but like it's somebody that I'm like, she knows her stuff, you know. So what is your pre-race routine?
Pre-race routine. Okay, so like night before?
Yeah.
The whole thing?
Yeah. Let's go for it.
So it depends if I'm out of town or in town, but typically dinner, I like to do, you know, I'm not like an overboard pasta gal.
Okay.
I love the stuffed sweet potato, some black beans or some chicken, like that type of thing.
Something light but full of protein and veggies. And
yeah, protein, veggies, definitely a starch. And then a good bit of water, maybe a noon.
Okay.
Something like that the night before. Then I wake up, I like to eat 2.5 hours before the race starts.
Okay.
And I'll either do the peanut butter, honey, banana toast.
Ooh, okay.
Or like a oatmeal with some nuts and fruit. Very much like a starch. Something sweet, some sort of fruit, usually a banana.
Okay.
Coffee, absolutely. Water, absolutely. I'm a nervous peer. So I'm like, how much fluid can I take in?
Yeah.
And like still be okay? I'm not really an ice bather the night before.
Same, yeah.
I will foam roll, kind of move around and stretch, but pretty much just take it easy.
Yeah, I love that. And then
Is there more to a routine you think that I should talk about?
No, it's your routine.
Yeah, that's typically what I do. I'm not a person, don't do my makeup before the race. There's some people that like to do that.
Kudos to them.
Good for them.
I look like a wet dog.
Yeah, I'm just going to wear it. I don't like it. The parts of my race that I'm really most picky about for longer races is the fueling during.
Ooh, okay, let's talk about it.
Because like evening and morning of, I could do pizza and salad or kind of flexible. But pretty much every single marathon I've run, and I want to know if other people agree with me, but I have this like obsession with the on-course liquid fuel, whether that's a Gatorade or a more concentrated mixed Gatorade or the whatever liquids that they're passing out.
Okay.
I don't want to grab it because it's an open mouth cup. I think I'm going to spill it on myself. And then I'm going to fixate on the stickiness that's on me.
Oh, okay.
This has never happened to me. I can't even say that I've had this traumatic, sticky experience. But I've like created this. So every single marathon I've run, Woody has been on the course, or someone has been on the course, with the Gatorades that have the twist top that you can squeeze.
Like the orange top to it that has a hole in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
They're hard to find. Or I find them to be hard to find.
Yeah.
Yellow or blue is what I want.
Okay.
And he'll usually stand somewhere around like 10 and then somewhere around like 18.
Okay.
And so I'll like hold on to the bottle and I'll drink it and then I'll throw it out when I don't want to hold it anymore.
Yeah.
But I'm like very particular about, like, I'll drink the water. I don't mind wearing the water.
Sure.
But I don't want to wear the Gatorades.
That's interesting. I've never thought about that.
I'm like obsessed with it. I don't know why. Because
you don't want a Gatorade bath?
I
like a champ,
know.
like the
Maybe
coaches?
it's because
like
I get water on me that I know I'm going to get the Gatorade on me.
That's a fair point.
It also gives me something to look forward to. I'm like, oh, okay, so I'm about to see Woody in this many miles, and I get my Gatorade.
I get a rehydration.
Yeah. Well, and like being such a nutrition freak, you know what works for you, and you don't want to mess it up, especially in the longer.
Yeah.
You know.
I get it. Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Post-race routine, what does that look like?
Oh my God, it depends on the emotional state, right? Like, I will start a marathon and say, I can't wait for my post-marathon beer. And I never get it. Because, like, your stomach's a wreck. You don't want it.
Correct.
Every other race, I don't think I have a routine. Like,
Okay.
I think I just...
Yeah, that's fair.
I've gotten burgers. I've gotten pizzas. Oh, here's definitely a non-negotiable.
Okay.
I have to change my clothes.
Yeah.
Like, you will not catch me hours later in a sweaty sports bra. You won't do it. I just can't.
Yeah.
And I guess that's my biggest thing is when I finish a race, I will probably be in different clothes within like 15 minutes.
Which is what I think happened at the holiday half.
Yes. No, literally.
So I was like, where did you go? And
I changed in the car.
That's right. I do remember that now. Wow.
I mean, I'm probably most cases, if I'm involved in an award ceremony, I will be into a totally different clothes.
Wow. Because you're an elite athlete, and that's what elite athletes do. You never wear the same thing. Yeah.
No, I just really hate a wet sports bra. Like, it's terrible.
So what is your favorite running item?
My favorite running item, I really like my Treks. Is that what they're called? The headphones that hang over your ears?
Your aftershocks.
My aftershocks.
Okay.
Love those. I also like that my watch holds music. Because for people who are, I can't carry the phone.
Yeah.
Like, I know there's a whole safety thing. I probably maybe when I am a mom, I'll feel different. But I just really hate carrying the phone. When I didn't have the watch that played music, I really love the koala clip.
Okay, yeah. Went on the back of the sports bra.
Yeah. Clip that and you can hold that. But my headphones have really been great. I can get rained on, not afraid.
That's right.
They're not going to slip out of my ears. There's no cord. I just wish there was a next button. I'd be like, skip, you know.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But those are my favorite.
Yeah. What are your favorite running shoes?
Oh, Pegs. You already know that. Nike Pegasus. Probably worn them since 2007. I ventured out.
She did. Yeah.
And I regretted it, and I came right back. And it welcomed me like my grandma does with some warm cookies. You know what I mean? It was like, welcome back, Claris. We've missed you. I just love them. I really do. I even have the Nike Peg Trail. I don't do a lot of trail running, but when I do, there's a Pegasus for that.
And then you always place in your trails.
The one trail race I did, that was also, okay, so that was a really fun race, but it was mentally really challenging because they started this race in two different places.
Okay.
And I think one group ran it frontwards and one backwards, but you're still racing against the other group. And so I knew that I was the first female in my group, but I didn't know how I stacked up to the women in the other group.
Gotcha.
And so I'm like, I don't win often, so I don't want it to sound that way. But when you know that you're in the lead, you feel like people are chasing you. And so I'm like, am I beating this other imaginary girl in this other group? And so I'm like pushing it, and I think I actually won by like 12 minutes, which I could not believe.
Wow. And what race was this?
I don't remember the name of it. I know it was near Pensacola. I know it was in a park, and it was in November.
Dude, that's awesome. That's so cool.
It was cool. It was really fun. There aren't many trails in Mobile, but it's just nice to have like a change.
Oh my gosh, we now have the Trail Yeah group that has started.
Okay.
And shout out to Steve Taylor because he's done an amazing job. So I had done a triathlon that they had moved the course because of weather or whatever to a trail. So my first experience was...
Sounds really hard.
It was awful. I was so bad. It was so bad. And so like we crossed the finish line, and you know how like, you know, like when you've been running in the rain and your feet feel, you know, your socks and everything, you're like, oh, it's gross. So I was like, I just need to get in my OOFOS. Like that's what I was trying to do. And I was like, but it just feels like more than water. And so because I was not in trail shoes and I was in all this stuff, so I had blisters and my feet were it was so bad. And I was miserable. And I was like, I'll never do a trail again. And not only that, but you weren't mentally ready for a trail race.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I didn't know this was gonna happen. So I was like, I'll never do trails. And then I was like, you know what? I really need to get into this. And so went out with Steve and Catherine and with the Trail Yeah group, and I was like, this is amazing. I think it makes a difference when you're with other people that know what they're doing and you're prepared. Like you have trail shoes and their grippiness, and you know.
Yep.
I think it makes a huge difference. And so I'm like, okay, I could do this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a 50K yet, but I'm not there yet. Maybe one day. I'm not saying never, like I did before, and it's different because you can't really worry about your pace because you're looking down, trying not to fall.
So I think that's a huge plus to doing the longer distance and also in the trail is that you really are just there to like be outside and meet people.
Yeah.
Because your GPS isn't going to tell you your pace, you know. I went with the kids to running camp this year.
Okay.
And it was in Brevard, North Carolina. Is that North Carolina? Sure. One of the Carolinas. And all of the runs were in the trails.
Wow.
And these kids are obsessed with tech. Like they you know, they've mostly got like their Apple Watches and they have the GPS. And when I was in high school, we had a stopwatch and it was like, go run 30 minutes and you don't know how far you ran. You just know that you covered that many minutes. And they would be like sprinting through the trail because their watch says 10:45. And I'm like, guys, I promise you, you're not running that pace. Like, you are sprinting. This is like a 7:30 pace. But my watch says it's only, you know, whatever. And I'm like, you can't, that's not the game you can play here. You just have to enjoy it. You just have to, are you breathing like you normally would on a run, you know? But yeah, that's what I like about it is that you're just, doesn't matter.
Yeah, I love that. That's cool. So when you're done running or while you're running, is there like a certain meal that you're like, I cannot wait to eat this?
So I'm usually running, I can't even say that anymore. I was going to say I'm usually running in the morning, but with the kids, I'm running in the afternoon. When I'm running in the morning, I'm like so excited for coffee. I don't have coffee before because I want to like be excited for my coffee. I'm a big breakfast person. I like breakfast in all forms. So like, love a pancake, koala cake, so good. Love a breakfast casserole. Love a quiche. Like I'm a real breakfast person. So that's mostly what I'm excited for when I'm running. Is breakfast. Amped about it.
So you mentioned your Aftershocks being your favorite running item. So what does your running jams sound like?
Oh my God, that's so embarrassing. I have this playlist on Spotify called Fountain of Youth. And I started it a couple years ago. And it's all of my favorite songs ever. Like literally thinking back to middle school.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And it has taken a lot of hard work. But you can like see your own emotional pathway. I don't know. Wow. But like as a middle schooler, I'm here with this like angsty teen, early 2000s. You know, we're talking like the Taking Back Sundays and the, you know. And then you get to like high school where it's more like dancey, pop, fun, party type. And then you've got college, which we can all imagine. And so like it's just on shuffle. So I'll like get a song and I'm like immediately taken back to being an 8th grader. Or I'll get a song and I'm like a junior in college. And that's probably my favorite one to cycle through. Because it, I don't know, like music can kind of transport you.
Oh, absolutely.
Like that.
Yeah.
So it's definitely not any country. And it's not like any screamo, like scary music. It's a lot of like angsty, alternative pop, R&B, like fun, you know.
Gotcha.
That's me.
That is amazing.
Fountain of Youth. Fountain of Youth. If you haven't done it, I would recommend it. And it's funny because I'll send it to friends and they'll be like, wait, you forgot about your Rihanna phase. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. And I'll be like, oh, Riri, how did I forget about you? And I'll like go and add all those songs.
That's amazing.
Because your friends know, you know,
That's
they know what those
they live
phases.
those times with you. They're like, yeah. What is your favorite recovery tool?
My favorite recovery tool, I really like this ball that Woody bought me for Christmas one year. It's when I started getting into my composting phase. And he bought this little cork ball and he goes, it's great, it's compostable. And I was like, well, I want to use it. I'm not like, I don't want to put it in my compost. But it's for your feet and then for your calves, like to roll out kind of. And I love a foam roller, but this ball, I can just stand there and like roll my foot on it.
Wow.
And I love that.
That's cool. So what is it made of?
It says cork.
Okay.
So I guess whatever cork is made of. Is it wood?
That's
I don't
cool.
know.
That's awesome. I love that. Favorite cross-training activity?
Oh, swimming.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Swimming just feels so good. I'll sometimes do a pool workout.
Okay.
But this is really like, I call it easy swim when I write it in my running log. And I'm just, you know, I'm like, I'll bring out a kickboard and you just stretch out your hips and I don't know, you're like, your back kind of hurts when you're running a lot. And I really like that. Strength training is super important to me, but that almost feels like supplemental, not, in my head, it's not really cross-training. Cross-training to me is like also cardio.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I am a huge believer in strength training. Like strength training and running
Don't I know
go
it?
hand. I just feel like it's one of those things that's underrated, but I feel like it's becoming more and more. People are now like, yes, I need to do strength training, and it's a game changer.
If someone comes to me and they're running and they're injured and they don't strength train, I'm like, well, duh, that makes total sense.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Like you can't just run and run. I mean,
yeah, you got to build the muscles.
Yeah.
And we have smaller muscles and accessory muscles and bigger muscles. And so it's like they all have to be strengthened. So, dude, that's awesome. Where do you swim at?
At Pro Health.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, that's awesome.
So I like that pool a lot.
Yeah. Oh, that's so cool. I had worked with a runner before who she had a knee issue. And so she's like, I really want to put in my miles. And I was like, go do a pool workout. Just go run in the pool. Like, and she was like, what? And I'm like, it's a workout. You don't realize it until you're in there, but you can sweat in the pool.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not a big, like, I mean, I can play around with a spin class. I don't know. I guess because if I'm doing something on the bike, cross training is also like kind of recovery to me. And so like spinning is hard. Like you're doing intervals and you're doing climbs.
Sure.
And I like that like as a workout alternative, but the pool to me is like an easy run. Like I'm like jogging. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I love it. Yeah, that's awesome. And I think my swimmer would disagree with you, though. I think he'd be
but he does workouts.
There's nothing easy about swimming.
Well, he does workouts. I'm sitting here, like, gonna do some breaststroke, gonna do some backs, this girl is not.
I think he does running as you do swimming. Like, that's his thing. Like, he'll be like, I'm gonna go for a run.
But see, he's probably not doing intervals or hills.
Not in swim.
No. When he goes running.
We have a pretty hilly neighborhood, so he will. But he's he's built like his dad, so it's
like tall and
it's easy for him. And he's young.
Must be nice.
So nice. I'm short and pudgy and not. So.
Shush. Don't talk about my friend like that.
What has been your worst race and why, if you've had one?
No, for sure have had one. The Salt Lake race was pretty bad. But the Salt Lake, or I also did the Houston Marathon.
Wow. Okay.
And those were both terrible. Because those were both examples of like, I trained really hard and I was really attached to the goal.
Gotcha.
And the training for both was perfect. Like if you had, like my predicted race should have been very easily attainable.
Wow.
Based on the workouts that I had done.
Yeah.
And it just didn't go that way. And like I finished both races, but I like really suffered the whole time. And Houston, Houston was in January and my coach was running the half. Woody ran the half and I ran the full.
Wow.
And I saw my coach at I'm going to back up. I'm also one of those people obsessed over the weather.
Okay.
So I knew it was going to rain. I knew it was going to be hot. And that was like, I was like obsessed with that. With like, oh my God, these elements are going to ruin the race. I've worked so hard for this. And so I bought all this. I bought spray to waterproof my shoes. It doesn't work. I can do heat. I live in Mobile. You know, it's fine. And what I should have done is just adjusted my expectations and adjusted my pace and I would have had a better time.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is the race I want to run. And like, it was a non-negotiable to me. It was exactly what it said it was going to be. It was hot. And I got to mile 22 and I see my coach. He's like running towards me and I'm so upset because I knew at the half that like this race is over for me.
Gotcha.
And I really thought he was going to tell me there's no reason to finish. We'll just wait and then you can run New Orleans in 2 or 3 weeks. I really thought that's what he was going to say to me. And he was like, no, you've got this. Just finish it. And I was like, oh, God, okay. I'm like, I want an out, right? And I get to 24, it starts pouring. And I'm like, oh my God, like I really didn't think this was going to get worse. And now it's raining on me for the last, 2 miles of this race. And it was just heartbreaking. I'm not someone that's like I don't get emotional over running. Sure. But I just sat and cried in that hotel room. I was so upset. Because I was like, God, I have been working so hard. And it was in the bag for me. Like, I knew it. I remember texting a friend and I was like, something would have to go really wrong for this to not pan out. Gotcha. And I don't believe in like a jinx. Like, I really don't think I was setting myself up to fail. I just knew, like, I'm really confident in what I've done. Right. And there isn't, like, I could put in a medium effort and I know that I would get what I want to get. And I ran 35 minutes slower than my last marathon. You bring up such a great point, though. And that is that even though training can be on point, even though nutrition can be on point, when it comes to the elements, you have to adjust. Yeah.
And wow, that is really good advice.
I mean, it's hard to hear. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, at least for me, because like I picked this race because it's fast. I traveled here.
Okay.
I've been like, this is the time I want. And so it was like, this is my only chance to do that. What would be the point of not trying?
Yeah.
I guess it depends on what, if your goal is to have a good time, then yeah, adjust your pace.
Yeah.
I mean, like an enjoyable time. If the time is the goal, then it's like, well, you might as well shoot your shot.
Yeah.
But you might suffer, and I did when you do that. And the first half was perfect. Like, all the splits were right on.
Yeah.
And then it was just like
Wow.
really quickly. Yeah, it was crazy. I've never run anything like that before.
Man. So do you think you'll ever go back and run it again? No. Okay.
Not Houston, no. I don't know what, y'all, like, if the city burns me, I'm not going back there. I had a friend run the half this past weekend in Houston, and I was like, good luck, that place sucks. And, like, people run great races there.
Yeah, so I was just say there was a huge group from Mobile that just came back, and they're all like,
probably had a
this
great
is
time.
awesome. Yeah.
Not this girl.
Not this girl.
Maybe I shouldn't travel. Maybe that's what this is. It's like,
Mobile's like, no.
Stay close to home. You'll have a great time. I don't know. There's something to that.
Wow. That is so interesting. Okay. So let's say that somebody comes to you and they're like, I want to get started in running or walking. What would be a piece of advice that you'd give them?
My mind like immediately goes to training advice.
Absolutely.
Which would be walk a minute, run a minute. You know, ease into it.
Yeah.
My advice for them, if they want to start running, I think they should do that. Like, I think that's great. Most people that approach me about running now, like friends that'll approach me, I'm 31. I feel like people, like, at this point in my life, if they want to start running, they have some sort of like physical activity background.
Sure.
So they kind of know their exercise abilities. And it's really cool to watch people that have been active but have never run come into running. And I try not to, like, you don't want to say too much because, you know, and I've had people tell me, my sister will tell me, you having run so seriously is intimidating, and so it can make you unapproachable.
Wow.
My sister does not want to run with me. She's she won't do it, and so I'm hesitant to say, oh, this would be my advice, unless someone had a specific question for me, like, hey, I've started running and this is what I'm struggling with. And I've had friends who are like, hey, I'm training for this race, this is my plan, what do you think? And I'll give them specific feedback on it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And that's really fun for me. But if someone's new, like brand new to running, I would just say, keep it fun. This is just meant to be enjoyable. Enjoy being outside. Enjoy not texting for 30 minutes and having time to yourself. Buy clothes that fit nicely.
Yeah.
You will not regret that.
Yeah.
But I'm really hesitant to push on to people because I want them to want to come to me and for it not to be like, oh yeah, I approached Claris and it was scary. And I don't know. People can, you know what I mean.
I would have never thought about you being intimidating just because your personality is just you're so open and honest. And I think that that's one of the things that I really appreciate about you whenever we would have conversations about running. I felt like we would just spend hours like talking, and it wouldn't be, but it was just like, wow, like that was so insightful, and wow, like, okay, yeah, I hadn't even thought about that. So no, I appreciate that. And you know, it's one of the things that I've learned is you really have to explain things to people. Because right now, one of the things with the training program that we're doing is I'm like, okay, we're doing 80% of our runs are nice and slow, like easy pace, conversation. If you can't have a conversation, we're going too fast. Like, again, I want it to be fun. I want it to be enjoyable. I don't want you to wake up the next day and you can't walk. That's not fun for anybody, you know? And so now it's like watching, I'm like, no, you have to listen. I need you to listen to me. So I have the opposite. I'm like, no, but I'm serious. Where you're like, people don't approach me because I'm serious. And then they're like, oh, well, that's just Allison. And I'm like, no. I'm being serious.
Well, and I will have, you know, like I had a friend, I was talking to her recently, and she just ran the Mobile Half, and she is one of the very small ever percentage to get into the New York lottery. It'll be her first marathon.
Wow.
And I do not provide advice unless someone explicitly asks me.
Yeah.
And I saw her training for the half, and I made a few recommendations because she asked me.
Yeah.
And I'd said to her, in hindsight, I think if you had done your training this way for the half, I think it would have been better, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
But I prefaced that with, like, I know you didn't ask my advice. And her response was like, well, I always want your advice. And so it's a hard balance of, like, I don't want to tell someone, I don't know.
No, I get
it's
it.
Tricky.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get it. Dude, that's awesome, though. You are a chock full of advice. So People should go to you. That's what I'm saying. Any goals coming? You did say the mobile in January.
Yeah.
Any other goals besides becoming a mom, being a mom?
No, I'm really excited. This whole pregnancy, everything about it has been such a curiosity for me because it's like, what's running going to feel like? What's nutrition going to be like?
Wow.
I've never done this before. And then the same thing with postpartum. I'm over here researching like recovery recommendations, and turns out the recommendation for runners is not to run for 12 weeks. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to pray on that. And so I just don't know, like, how am I going to feel? I have no idea. So I hope to be easing back into running by the summertime.
Okay.
And then, I don't know. I feel like the worst thing I can do is put an expectation on myself. I would love to run the Mobile Half.
I love that.
If I don't, like, I don't think my PRs are coming in the next calendar year. So it's not going to be like, oh, God, I really had my eye on that race.
Dude, that's awesome. I love how you said that, not putting expectations on yourself.
Yeah.
That's great. I love that. When you were running and it was tough, like the runs that you've said, what was your mantra to get you through?
The races that were suffer fests.
Yeah.
She's laughing. It was. I don't even know, man. My mind was just a wreck. Because it is all, like, a lot of it is in your mind. I mean, I would go through, you're bargaining with yourself and you're making deals with yourself. And then, and something I default to when I don't have anything nice to say is I will just count my steps, like my left step. I'll be like 1, 2, 3. I'll go to 8 or 10 or whatever and start over again.
Wow.
Because I'm like, I have nothing to say. I mean, sometimes there are no words. And I'll do that at workouts too. Like if a workout's really bad, I'm like, okay, well just count your left foot and then it'll be over and it'll be fine.
Wow.
But sometimes I'll go back. Like I really like to think of just strength. I'll be like, okay, you have strength in here. You are strong.
It's good. I like that.
Yeah, strength is one of my favorite words to like think about. Or for races that are going well, I'm like, don't get distracted, don't lose focus. So it's like a big thing I tell the kids because they're racing 5Ks and I'm like, that second mile, that's where you're going to get distracted. You're going to relax. I'll say that too. Don't get relaxed. And those are kind of the things I come back to.
You coach yourself in that moment.
Yeah. Because, and I yell things to them that help me.
Yeah.
If you're racing the mile, like that third 400 is like such a dangerous lap. And so it's like, focus, focus, focus.
Yeah.
And if you can focus through like those portions, like you're always going to kick when you see the finish line. Like most people aren't like, oh, there's the finish line. I'm going to walk it in.
Right. Yeah.
And when the gun goes off, you're excited. So if we can remain focused, that's probably one of my favorites. Focus, don't relax. I'll even form check where I'm like, okay, what do I think I look like right now? Because like that's a big, like your mechanics are a big part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. I love you saying that. It makes me think about that meme that's like what I think I look like and what I actually look like. And it's either the little girl with the baton or like the dog with the beagle, the basset hound.
Just like a total wreck.
So what's your favorite length to run?
My favorite workouts to do are long workouts.
Okay.
Like my absolute favorite workout is in a marathon training. The longest will be like 15 to 17 miles.
Okay.
And you'll like warm up for a mile or two. And then you'll alternate. And you'll do 1 mile 10 to 15 seconds faster than marathon pace. The next mile 10 to 15 seconds slower than marathon pace. And I don't know what it is that I love about that. I'll like in my head, okay, if I warm up and cool down for a mile, that takes my 17-mile run and makes it 15. And then I'll alternate, or maybe let's say the workout is 16, so then it's 14. So then I've got 7 sets of 2 of the miles alternating. And it's very scary because that's a lot of a true workout. Like that's quick or feels quick. And then I finish it and I'm like, oh my God, like it's so exciting. I love that.
Yeah.
I love a long run where I look back and I'm like, I feel like I covered the entire county. Like, that's really fun for me.
Yeah.
Racing, love a half. Like, I really feel like the half is my best race. Because I feel like it is very raceable. You're not like totally wrecked from it. You can still go to brunch when you're done.
That's right. Yeah.
You know. Those are probably my favorite.
I love that. That's great.
I also love, on the complete opposite spectrum, a workout that's just 200-meter repeats. I know that completely contradicts everything I just said, but it's like, it's quick, it's short, it's really hard, and then it's over. And you're like, wow, okay.
You still got a workout in.
Yeah.
So, as a registered dietitian, How important is nutrition to running?
Well, as a registered dietitian, I think it's vital.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think running and nutrition really go hand in hand. So running brought me to nutrition because
okay.
I don't know, like I cared about what I ate because I was running and because I wanted to be better. I wanted to eat better. And then I got to Alabama and I realized that is something you can do as a job. Like you could talk about food and help people do food. And I was like, great, that's exactly what I want to do. And for me personally, I mean, there are all these different schools of thought, but with my own training, if I'm really, and see, this is me contradicting myself because I'm like taking things seriously, which, I hate anyways. You'll think about, have I fueled to recover for the workout that I did? Am I fueling for the workout I'm going to do? All of those things directly impact what your performance is going to be. And it changes even depending on the season. Like,
sure.
I'll never forget, I went to dinner with my husband's family, and they love some soul food. Like, we're talking mashed potatoes, and I mean, that, we all know what soul food is. And I ate it, and I was like, God, like, that's a lot, And I woke up the next morning, and it was summer, and my workout was awesome. I'm not even kidding. And I got home, and I looked at Woody, and I was like, I think it's because their food is so salty and it's so hot. I did better because I had all these electrolytes. And so from that point forward, I was like, well, let's see what happens when I'm adding more salt to my foods. And I felt so much better.
Wow.
And that's like something I would
all
not.
From soul food.
Seriously. I was like, it all started with the mashed potatoes. And I mean, this wasn't like, I think it was, it wasn't like fried chicken. It wasn't like that heavy.
Sure.
But I remember specifically the mashed potatoes. I remember eating them thinking like, God, these are really salty. And then I ran the next day and I was like, I feel like $100.
Wow.
Now, if you have high blood pressure, please don't do that. But if your performance is lacking or you're not resting well or you're not recovering well, look at the physical, but also look at the nutrition because that's a huge part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. I totally agree. So, when you're not running, what do you like to do?
When I'm not running, I really like to read.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I do a lot of reading. I've got 2 dogs that I love to play with. And that's probably where I spend, I mean, I like to be with my friends and stuff like that. But I try to catch myself because I am someone who really likes to be outside.
Okay.
And I'm a very busy personality. And I've had to do less of things that are activities that are also physical activity because I love to play tennis. But if I'm going to go run for an hour and then I'm going to like strength train and then I'm like, well, let's go walk up to the tennis courts and play some tennis. And I'm like, all you did was move today. And that's exhausting. Don't do that. And so I try to be, that sounds crazy. Like that sounds crazy to be like, I have to consciously do less movement, but kind of.
So I'm laughing because I've been there. I've done that. So we play pickleball. Like that's our thing. Absolutely love it. And so we have our pickleball peeps and it's been after the 15K and then a previous day I had done, like that Saturday I had ran the Pensacola half and then that Sunday I was playing pickleball.
Yeah.
And literally both times I was like, guys, don't make me run. Because like literally my mind's going, let's go, let's get the ball. But you can't. With pickleball, just like with tennis, it's sprinting. So you need fast twitch muscles, and they're not activating because they're exhausted.
Right.
And so you're like, I can't get that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I'm laughing because I'm like, that sounds just like me.
Well, and I think I've got a couple of friends that do this too. This sounds like an unhealthy relationship with exercise, but really it's just, I don't know. Runners, I think, are just different. Where like, to me, running is the exercise. Like that is exercise.
Yeah.
And I'm going to wake up and I'm going to probably run 4 or 5 days out of the week. Okay. So if someone asks me to go for a walk, well, in my head, that's not running. So it's movement, but it's not the exercise. It's not the workout.
Sure.
And so I'm like, okay, so if I run to her house and then we go for a walk and then I run home, and I'm like, but that's actually a lot.
Yeah.
Like that's a lot of stuff.
Yeah. That's a great point. I love that. That's good. I'm glad to know that I'm not the only one that went running and then
like went to go do a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, I'm sure you were a lot faster on the court than I was because I was like, sorry guys. I probably should have had a walker. I'm not kidding because I was like, I can't.
Well, after a race is a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah. It was not smart. But you just, when you love something and you're with your people.
And you're with friends.
You're like, I want to be with my people. And I could have went and not played. But then where's the fun in that?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I've really been on a mission to find hobbies.
Okay.
So I've done some needle pointing. I've done some not great watercoloring.
Constantly trying something new.
Just doing something different.
Interesting. I love that. Okay. Any final words of wisdom?
I feel like my whole interview has been conflicting advice. Like, if you're serious and you eat well, but have fun and don't be too serious. I'm sure that people listening to this are probably running already.
Or want to. They're going to be.
Or want to.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I would say that the whole point is for it to be fun.
You can be serious and fun.
I think that's how I could describe myself. Like, I want to do well.
Yeah.
And I'm not devaluing that. I think that it's important to have goals and to work for them.
Yeah.
But that at the end of the day, it's just running. You know?
Yeah. I like that. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for
having
me.
I appreciate it.
I loved it.
Yay! Awesome. What a runner, what a story, what a coach, what a friend, what a registered dietitian, and soon-to-be mom. So congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Perkins. So excited for you guys. I cannot wait to see you out in the community running with that baby. Just thank you, Claris. Just so grateful for you and all that you're doing and for the future generation. And how cool and exciting it is that where you used to run as a runner, as a student athlete, you're now back coaching. That's just, what a great story. So grateful for you and all that you do. And again, can't wait to see you pass me by with that stroller. Thank you for sharing your story. It's an incredible one. And guys, as always, thank you for taking care of us through Patreon, becoming supporters, and believing in Run Your Story, sharing us on social media, talking about us, and also hitting those stars on your favorite podcast player. We are eternally grateful, and we're doing this for the community. And so being able to share your stories is such an honor and not something that we take lightly. So thank you. If you've not signed up for Patreon and to become a supporter, you should. As Steve Taylor would say, it's where all the cool kids are doing. So be a cool kid, support Patreon, support Run Your Story. And thank you. So from Run Your Story, thank you for sponsoring us. Thank you for taking care of us and making Run Your Story possible. Also grateful for Mars Hill Church and their support of Run Your Story by providing a very safe place for us to be able to interview and record. And we're very grateful for that. They believe in community. They believe in us sharing our stories. And that's what we are here at Mars Hill. So thankful for that and to have a church that believes in the dream. It's pretty cool. So guys, as my dear friend Claris, as she has shared her story, it becomes a part of my story. And I hope it becomes a part of your story to where now when you go to hit the pavement that you run your story because every story needs to be heard.